Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Game Development Log video diary, and this week I've been doing a lot of work on the GYs. So very soon I'm going to be implementing breeding trees which will determine which species have to be bred together to create new species. There are hopefully going to be quite a few different breeding trees in the game, and at the top of each of these trees is a base species, a species that can't be unlocked through the breeding process. These species therefore have to be unlocked in some other way, and as I've mentioned in a previous video, these species will have to be bought in the base species shop, which is one of the things that I implemented this week. When you start a game in Equilinox, most of these base species are going to be locked and will look something like this. To unlock a species you have to pay a one-off fee, but I'll probably also add in some other ways of unlocking these species at some point. So to pay the fee and to unlock the species, you just have to click on it, and if you have enough diversity points, that will unlock the species and you'll be charged the relevant amount of DP. When you mouse over an unlocked item, this icon appears in the top right, and clicking on this will bring up another GY somewhere around here, which will have more information about the species and its breeding tree, but I haven't had the time to implement that just yet. The price of each item is shown in green here, and these prices are a lot lower than the unlocked prices. And if you don't have enough DP to buy an item, then the price is shown in red. To buy a species, you just have to click on it, and then this +1 text is shown, indicating that the species has been added to your inventory. At the moment, obviously there aren't that many species that I can try this with, but if I add in a load of test items, you can see that the shop can actually have multiple pages of items, and you can look through the pages by clicking on the page numbers at the bottom of the shop here. Another thing that I worked on this week was the inventory, and I only started work on this yesterday, so it's still only half done, but you can have a look at the items in your inventory now by clicking on this button here. This brings up a list of the species that you've bought from the shop, and it shows how many of each you have, and I'm also going to be adding up and down arrows here so that you can scroll through the list when there are more species. To place an entity in the world, you just have to click on a species to select it, and then you can click anywhere in the world to place an instance of that species. As I place these trees, you can see the number of the trees in the inventory going down, and when this reaches 0, the item gets removed from the inventory. Obviously, at the moment it's not very clear which species is currently selected, but I'm going to be fixing that next week by implementing a custom cursor, which will hopefully look something like this, and that will display the species that you're currently placing and how many of them you have left in your inventory. And finally this week I also added in a new tree model, which you've probably already noticed. I did some more work on the way that sheep colours are calculated and gave them a bit of a bias towards natural colours so that you don't get crazy coloured sheep without specifically selectively breeding them. And I've also now implemented a basic life cycle for all of the plants and animals in the game, so they all now grow, reproduce and die over time. A lot of the species still only have one model stage though, which is why you'll see a lot of trees randomly popping into existence, and when an entity dies it currently just gets instantly removed from the scene, but I'll be doing a lot more work on entities in a couple of weeks' time to address all of these issues. For this week though, that is it. Before I finish, I just need to give a huge thank you to the top Patreon supporters from last month, who were Justin, Crazy Rusky, Benjamin Fuller, Jerry Bradshaw, Ivan, Crazy Red and Danny D. So a massive thank you to you guys. But yeah, that is it for this week. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have an amazing week, and I will see you all next time.